Dear spectators of the human tragedy. Ah, pride. That intoxicating nectar, sweet on the tongue but venomous to the soul. It wraps around the heart like a vine, choking the very breath of reality, leaving behind a hollow shell that once knew the warmth of connection. I stand before you, a specter of what I could have been, gazing into the abyss of my own making. How delightful it is to wear the mask of power, to dance on the strings of fate while the world watches in awe. But beneath that applause lies a silent scream, a cry for the loyalty, love, and respect that once sparkled like a jewel in my grasp. What is this jewel, you ask? It is the bond forged in the fires of shared struggle, the laughter echoing in the halls of camaraderie, the gentle touch of trust that knits souls together. It is the glimmer of hope in the darkest of nights, the warmth that guides us home when the world turns cold. Yet, in my quest for dominance, I cast aside these treasures, mistaking their softness for weakness. Oh, how pride blinds! It whispers sweet nothings, convincing the heart that it is invincible, that the world is but a stage for my grand performance. But let me tell you about the downfall, the moment when arrogance became my cruelest mistress. I rose like a phoenix from the ashes, a leader with visions of grandeur, with eyes set on the horizon. The cheers of the crowd fueled my ambition, each victory a brick in the fortress of my ego. I was a king, and kings are not meant to cower before the needs of mere subjects. No, I was above it all, a god among men, blinding myself to the simple truths that bind us. As the throne grew more comfortable, I began to notice the cracks in my kingdom. The whispers of discontent, the absence of familiar faces, the once loyal hearts now turned to shadows. They fell away like leaves in autumn, their vibrant colors replaced by a dull gray of betrayal. I dismissed their absence, convinced that my powers shielded me from the repercussions of my choices. Oh, how foolish I was! Pride, my dear friends, is a double-edged sword. It carves a path to glory while leaving a trail of blood and bones. Each sacrifice made in the name of ambition chips away at the very foundation of what we hold dear. I lost my way, blinded by the bright lights of recognition, seduced by the allure of status. The world applauded my rise, but in that applause, I failed to hear the muffled cries of those I pushed aside. And so, I stand here, a monument to my own hubris, staring into the abyss of loneliness. The throne feels cold beneath me, a stark reminder of the warmth I once knew. The echoes of laughter have faded, replaced by the chilling silence of regret. I am left with the hollow ache of isolation, a king with no subjects, a leader with no followers. The mirror reflects a monster, a creation born from the ashes of pride. As the dust settles, I am left to ponder, was it worth it? The prize I sought now feels like a curse, a burden too heavy to bear. In chasing power, I lost everything that made me human. I stand alone, a ghost haunting the corridors of my own making, forever trapped in this dark, twisted game. Time, that relentless thief, shall not let my sins go unpunished. It will unravel the threads of my story, exposing the truth behind the facade. For in the end, pride is a fleeting illusion, and what remains is the stark reality of choices made and paths forsaken. The jewel I once held is now lost to the shadows, a bittersweet reminder of the cost of letting pride obscure vision. Ah, the sweet nectar of victory, how it intoxicates the mind and swells the chest with a false sense of grandeur. Each triumph, a shimmering trophy, glittering under the spotlight of adoration, lured me further into the depths of my own delusion. I stood atop the world, basking in the glory of my conquests, a lion among sheep, feasting on the accolades of those who dared to believe in my vision. But little did I know, with every cheer that echoed in my ears, I was constructing my own prison of isolation, brick by brick. In those early days, the taste of power was like honey on my lips. Each victory was a flame that lit the path forward, igniting the hearts of those around me, binding them to my cause. But as the fire grew, so did the shadows. The warmth began to fade, replaced by a chill that crept into my bones, a reminder that the very people who once lifted me on their shoulders were slowly slipping through my fingers, like sand in an hourglass. Pride is a slow poison, and I was but a willing victim. With every step into the limelight, I felt the pulse of adoration, a rhythm that drowned out the whispers of dissent. The applause became my drug, and I, the addict, craved more. It was intoxicating, but every high has its low, and soon enough, I began to notice the cracks in the facade. The joyous cheers morphed into murmurs of discontent, and the faces that once radiated loyalty were now mere silhouettes drifting away, lost in my wake. I recall a pivotal moment, a gathering of my closest allies, the air thick with camaraderie. But as I spoke, my words dripped with arrogance, dismissing their concerns as trivial. I was a ruler at the peak of my power, and what need had I of their counsel? The laughter that once filled the room turned to silence, a graveyard of trust buried beneath the weight of my hubris. I felt it then, a shiver down my spine, a warning I chose to ignore. Like a jester, I danced on the precipice of my own folly, blind to the truth that loomed behind me. The signs of alienation were there, etched into the very fabric of my reign. A coldness began to seep into my relationships, the warmth of kinship replaced by the frost of ambition. I could almost taste the bitterness of betrayal, but pride is a master of denial. I told myself it was all part of the game, that the sacrifices were necessary for greatness. Yet, in truth, I was sacrificing the very essence of what made me whole. The allure of power had seduced me into believing I was invincible, that my throne was unassailable. But as I carved my path through the accolades, I failed to notice the shadows gathering at my feet. They whispered secrets of discontent, of those I had cast aside in pursuit of my glory. Each dismissive glance, each cold shoulder, was a reminder that beneath the veneer of dominance lay a foundation built on shifting sands. And now, as I stand at the edge of my empire, I am no longer the triumphant leader, but a hollow shell, haunted by the ghosts of my choices. I gaze upon the ruins of what was once a vibrant kingdom, now a desolate wasteland of broken promises and lost connections. The faces that once looked at me with admiration are now mere memories, ephemeral wisps of what could have been if only I had chosen to listen rather than dictate. Pride, my relentless companion, has led me to this moment of reckoning. I have crafted a legacy not of honor, but of isolation, a monument to my own downfall. The applause has faded, replaced by the deafening silence of regret. In the end, I stand alone, a ruler stripped of his kingdom, a king without subjects, a dark silhouette against the backdrop of my own making. Time will be the ultimate judge, and as it marches on, it will reveal the true cost of my ambition, an emptiness that echoes louder than any cheer ever could. Ah, the shadows that dance around the throne, whispering sweet nothings of ambition while feasting on your very soul. Power, that seductive mistress, wraps her tendrils around the heart, promising greatness while slowly choking the life out of everything you once held dear. Each accolade becomes a chain, heavy and unyielding, binding you to a fate you cannot escape. The allure of recognition is intoxicating, a siren song that lures even the most steadfast into the abyss. In the beginning, the cheers felt like a warm embrace. Each clap, each shout of adoration, a balm for the wounds of vulnerability. But power is a double-edged sword, and with each victory, I sacrificed pieces of myself on the altar of ambition. Relationships, once vibrant and alive, faded like distant stars swallowed by the encroaching night. The thrill of status consumed me, feeding on the trust and loyalty of those I claimed to cherish. It was a trade I made willingly, convinced that the price was worth the glittering spoils of conquest. I remember the faces of those who once stood by my side, their eyes filled with hope, now turned to shades of disappointment. I sacrificed their dreams for my own, their voices drowned in the cacophony of my rising ego. They became mere stepping stones on my path to glory, their needs eclipsed by my insatiable hunger for recognition. One by one, they slipped away, and I watched, blind to the devastation I wrought. In my relentless pursuit of power, I forgot that true strength lies not in dominance, but in the bonds we forge with others. As the crown settled onto my brow, I was blinded by the illusion of control. I walked through the halls of my empire, convinced that I was untouchable, a god among mortals. But the truth is a fickle companion, lurking just out of sight, waiting for the moment of reckoning. I convinced myself that the loyalty I commanded was unshakable, yet the roots of trust were withering beneath the weight of my arrogance. And then came the whispers, the discontent brewing like a storm on the horizon. I dismissed them, believing my power could weather any tempest. But storms do not care for kings, and the winds of change began to howl. The very foundation of my reign trembled as the shadows of my choices crept closer. I was no longer the revered leader, but a tyrant, unwittingly sowing the seeds of my own downfall. The taste of power, once sweet, turned bitter on my tongue. I stood atop my towering fortress, surveying the empire I had built, only to find it crumbling beneath the weight of my pride. The applause that once filled the air now lay heavy with silence, a haunting reminder of what I had lost. Relationships, once vibrant, reduced to ashes, swirling in the winds of my hubris. I had become a ghost in my own life, haunting the halls of a kingdom that no longer reflected who I once was. And so, in this darkness, I ponder the cost of my ambition. The allure of recognition has a price, a toll that demands more than mere sacrifices. It asks for the very essence of our humanity, devouring the connections that ground us. I stand here, an empty vessel, surrounded by the echoes of laughter that have long since faded. The shadows that once danced around me now mock my solitude, reminding me of the relationships I cast aside in my quest for greatness. Time, that relentless judge, will lay bare the consequences of my choices. The legacy I thought I was building is nothing but a mirage, a fleeting image that dissolves in the light of day. As I stare into the abyss of my own making, I realize that the jewels I once held, love, loyalty, respect, have slipped through my fingers, lost to the void of my own pride. The darkness that surrounds me is not the end, but a beginning, a chance to confront the demons I have created, and perhaps, in that confrontation, find a glimmer of redemption amidst the ruins. Ah, the sweet, bitter taste of solitude. It clings to the tongue like a poison, seeping into the very marrow of existence. Once, I stood atop a mountain of adoration, the world at my feet, but now I find myself in a valley of echoes, surrounded by the ghosts of those I once cherished. The laughter that filled the air has turned into a deafening silence, a haunting reminder of the warmth I sacrificed on the altar of ambition. Yes, I wore my pride like armor, but it has become my shroud, heavy, suffocating, and oh so isolating. In the wake of my arrogance, the fallout has been swift and merciless. Those who once rallied behind my banner have scattered like leaves in a tempest, their loyalty shattered by my indifference. I can still hear the whispers of betrayal, a chorus of discontent that I so foolishly ignored. Each ally lost is a dagger to the heart, a wound that festers in the quiet corners of my mind. It is a cruel irony, this power I sought to wield, now wielding me in a dance of despair. I am the puppeteer who has cut his own strings, and the marionette lies motionless, forgotten. Loneliness is a cold companion, a specter that wraps its icy fingers around my soul, squeezing tighter with each passing day. I walk through the shadows of my once vibrant kingdom, where laughter and camaraderie once flourished. Now I am met with silence, a void that echoes the absence of those I took for granted. Their warmth has been replaced by a chill that seeps into my bones, reminder that the cost of ambition is measured in the currency of connection. Oh, how I long for the days when voices harmonized, when trust was a bond unbreakable. But time, that relentless thief, shows no mercy. It strips away the veneer of greatness, revealing the raw, festering wounds beneath. I look into the mirror and see a stranger staring back, a hollow reflection of the leader I once aspired to be. The walls that once echoed with praise now resonate with the emptiness of my choices. The truth cuts deeper than any blade. I am alone, surrounded by the rubble of relationships I deemed expendable. I built my empire on the backs of those I considered weak, and now I stand amidst the ruins, a king without a court. And then comes the inevitable moment of reckoning, a turning point that cleaves the darkness in two. The shadows I created rise up, their whispers growing louder, more insistent. They remind me of the faces I turned away, the dreams I crushed beneath the weight of my hubris. The downfall is not a singular event, it is a series of choices, each one leading me further into the abyss. I am the architect of my own demise, and the blueprints are etched in the hearts of those I betrayed. Oh, the irony! I sought control, but in my quest, I lost the very essence of what it means to lead. The power I craved has turned to ash in my hands, leaving me with nothing but regret. The emotional toll of this loneliness is a heavy burden, a weight that crushes the spirit. I wander through the corridors of my mind, haunted by the ghosts of what could have been, a testament to the relationships I sacrificed for fleeting glory. And now, as I gaze into the chasm of my own making, I wonder if redemption is even possible. Time, that cruel judge, holds the gavel in its hands. It will not be swayed by my pleas or my regrets. It will carve my legacy into stone, a monument to pride's cruel dance. I must confront the truth of my choices, for it is only in this darkness that I may find a flicker of hope. The shadows that surround me are not an end, but a new beginning, a chance to wrestle with my demons and, perhaps, to reclaim the jewels I lost in the fire of ambition. In this solitude, I seek not forgiveness from others, but from myself, for I am the only one who can break these chains. Ah, the heavy weight of realization settles like a shroud over my thoughts. Like a thief in the night, it creeps in and snatches away the illusions I so desperately clung to. I stand in the ruins of my own making, surveying the wreckage of what once was, a castle built not of stone, but of trust, love, and loyalty. Each brick now crumbles into dust, and I am left wrestling with the ghosts of choices past. The price of my ambition rings like a funeral bell, echoing through the hollow chambers of my heart. In the depths of this newfound clarity, I am confronted with the haunting specter of what I sacrificed. The faces of those I discarded flash before me like a relentless parade of shadows, their eyes filled with confusion and hurt. They trusted me, believed in the vision I painted with grand words and promises. But I, in my insatiable thirst for power, became a blind artist, neglecting the very canvas I claimed to cherish. Now, that canvas lies torn, splattered with the vibrant hues of lost connections and faded dreams. What is power, if not a fragile mirage? I chased it with reckless abandon, convinced it would fill the void within me. Yet here I stand, stripped of the illusions that once adorned my reign. The echoes of laughter have faded into whispers of betrayal, and I can feel the weight of regret pressing down on my chest like a leaden mantle. What a cruel twist of fate it is, to realize that the throne I fought so hard to ascend has become a seat of solitude, a solitary cell where I dwell among my own demons. The cost of this power, this hollow crown, is etched into my very being. Every relationship sacrificed on the altar of ambition bears the mark of my hubris. I traded warmth for accolades, the gentle touch of companionship for the cold embrace of recognition. And now, as I stand amidst the ashes of my choices, I can almost taste the bitterness of that exchange, a bitter brew that chokes the soul and leaves only bitterness in its wake. Regret is an uninvited guest that lingers long after the party has ended. It dances around me, a macabre waltz that reminds me of the laughter I took for granted. I long for the days when trust was a fortress, not a crumbling wall. I yearn for the bonds that once held me steady, now frayed and stretched by my arrogance. There is a hollowness within me, a chasm that cries out for the warmth of connection, yet I stand alone, a king stripped of his court. Time does not offer solace, it is a relentless mirror that reflects the truth I dread. I am left to contemplate the lasting impact of my choices, each one a ripple in the waters of my existence. The jewels I once held close, loyalty, love, respect, have been cast aside in my pursuit of a fleeting shadow. Now I grasp at the air, clawing for remnants of what could have been, longing for a chance to rewrite the narrative of my life. But can redemption be found in this darkness? The question hangs heavy in the air, a specter that both haunts and taunts. Perhaps the answer lies not in seeking forgiveness from those I have wronged, but in reconciling with the fractured pieces of myself. In this solitude, I must confront the truth: my journey was never just about power, but about the connections that breathe life into existence. In the depths of despair, I find a flicker of hope. The shadows that envelop me are not my end, they are a crucible from which I can emerge anew. The darkness whispers of a path not yet traveled, a chance to reclaim the jewels I lost in the fire of ambition. And so, I stand, not as a defeated leader, but as a warrior ready to wrestle with my past. For it is in understanding the cost of my choices that I can begin to forge a new legacy, one that honors the bonds I once let slip through my fingers. Ah, the seductive waltz of pride and power, a dance as old as time itself. It lures the ambitious, a siren song promising glory while hiding the jagged rocks of ruin beneath its shimmering surface. I find myself ensnared, caught in a web of my own making, each thread a testament to my hubris. The shimmering lights of success blind me, and I stumble blindly into the abyss, unaware of the darkness creeping ever closer, waiting to swallow me whole. History is littered with the bones of those who dared to reach too high, those who believed the world was theirs to command. They rose like phoenixes, only to be reduced to ash by their own arrogance. I recall their names, their legacies twisted by the very pride that once fueled their ascent. Each tale serves as a haunting reminder, a dark echo reverberating through the corridors of time. Ambition unchecked is a poison that seeps into the soul, corrupting even the purest of intentions. And yet, here I stand, a reluctant heir to this tragic legacy. With every triumph, I felt the intoxicating taste of power on my lips, that sweet nectar that leaves the heart yearning for more. But what is this power if not a mirage, shimmering just out of reach? I sacrificed bonds forged in fire for the hollow accolades of those who cheered my every move, their approval a fleeting shadow that danced just ahead of me. In my pursuit of greatness, I severed ties, casting aside loyalty like a discarded cloak, thinking I could weather the storm alone. But storms do not recognize the solitary, they ravage all in their path. The whispers of those I abandoned haunt my every step, their voice is now a cacophony of bitterness and regret. I can almost hear them, a chorus of discontent rising from the ruins of my ambition. They once stood by my side, champions in my quest, but I turned my back, chasing the ghost of power that slipped through my fingers like sand. Now, I stand alone, a ghost among ghosts, haunted by the echoes of what could have been. The illusion of control is a cruel mistress, and I was her most devoted servant. I believed myself untouchable, a god among mortals. Yet, the higher I climbed, the more precarious my position became. The ground beneath me rumbled with the discontent of those I had forsaken. Their loyalty, once a fortress, crumbled to dust as my pride grew like an insatiable beast, devouring all that I once cherished. I became blind to the cracks in my kingdom, convinced that my reign was eternal. Ah, how foolish I was. The cycle of pride is relentless, a tempest that punishes the arrogant with the very weapons they wielded against others. I watched as those who once rallied to my banner turned their backs, their faces hardening into masks of betrayal. In their eyes, I saw the reflection of my own folly, a mirror that showed me the depths of my isolation. I had become a tyrant in my own story, ruling with an iron fist while my heart grew cold and distant. And yet, within this darkness, a realization takes root. The lessons of history are not mere stories, they are warnings carved into the fabric of existence. Can I accept the truth that redemption lies not in reclaiming the power I once sought, but in embracing the humility I cast aside? Perhaps the path forward is not paved with ambition, but with the very connections I let slip through my fingers like water. As I stand on the precipice of despair, I feel the weight of my choices bearing down upon me. The shadows are deep, and the air thick with regret, but I will not be consumed. For even in the darkness, I sense a flicker of understanding, a chance to rewrite my own narrative. The jewels I lost may be buried beneath the rubble of my arrogance, but they are not gone forever. In this crucible of pain and reflection, I can rise anew, not as a conqueror, but as a seeker of truth, ready to confront the demons that haunt me. Power, I have learned, is but a fleeting shadow. It is the bonds we forge in the light that endure. So I ponder, can I reclaim what I lost? In the depths of my solitude, I dare to hope that I can. And thus, I step forward, embracing the darkness, armed with the knowledge that true strength lies in humility and connection, a lesson I will not forget again. Time, that relentless arbiter, weaves an intricate tapestry of justice, threading together the fates of the proud and the fallen. It is a cruel artist, painting with shades of regret and loss, etching deep lines into the faces of those who once held dominion over their realms. Look closely, and you will see how the bright colors of ambition fade into the muted hues of solitude, how the once vibrant legacy of a leader crumbles into dust, swept away by the cold winds of indifference. In the echo of my solitude, I find myself standing on the ruins of what I once deemed invincible. The laughter that once rang through the halls of power has turned into a haunting silence, a reminder of the price paid for my arrogance. My legacy, once gleaming like a jewel, now lies tarnished, a forgotten relic of a time when I thought I could command the hearts of men. Each passing day strips away another layer of the illusion, revealing the raw, unvarnished truth beneath. Pride is a thief, and it has robbed me of everything valuable. As I gaze upon the remnants of my reign, I am confronted by the faces of those I alienated, their eyes filled with disappointment, betrayal, and pain. They were the pillars of my empire, their loyalty a fortress I foolishly believed could withstand any storm. But storms do not respect fortifications built on pride, they dismantle them, brick by brick, until all that remains is a hollow shell. I was the architect of my own downfall, and now I must bear witness to the destruction I wrought. And what of my audience? The very ones who cheered my ascent, who hung on my every word. They too are complicit in this tragic narrative, caught in the web of their own desires. They watched as I rose, blinded by the brilliance of my ambition, their applause a sweet poison that fed my hubris. Yet, in their eyes, I see a mirror reflecting my own failings. They crave the spectacle of power, but when the curtain falls, what remains? A profound emptiness, a gaping chasm filled with the ghosts of lost connections. The choices we make are not mere whims, they are the building blocks of our existence, shaping the very essence of who we are. I had the chance to nurture the bonds that mattered, to cultivate loyalty and respect, but I chose the intoxicating allure of power instead. Now, as I tread this desolate path, I am left to ponder the impact of my decisions. The echoes of laughter have been replaced by the whispers of regret, and in their haunting melody, I find the lesson that cuts deeper than any blade. Time has a way of peeling back the layers of pretense, revealing the raw truth beneath. It exposes the fragility of human connections and the cost of neglecting what truly matters. I stand here, stripped of my illusions, a testament to the folly of pride, and I invite you to reflect on your own journey. What choices have you made in the pursuit of your desires? What jewels have you cast aside in the name of ambition? As I confront the shadows of my past, I recognize that the true measure of a legacy lies not in the accolades amassed or the power wielded, but in the connections forged in the crucible of shared experience. The laughter we once shared, the bonds we nurtured, they are the jewels that endure, shining brightly even in the darkest of nights. I have learned this lesson too late, but perhaps it is not too late for you. So let this serve as a warning, a call to arms against the insidious grip of pride. Do not allow the allure of ambition to blind you to the treasures that lie within the hearts of those around you. For in the end, when the applause fades and the spotlight dims, it is the love, loyalty, and respect we cultivate that will echo through the corridors of time. Embrace those jewels before they slip through your fingers, for they are the true essence of life, the treasures that power cannot touch, the legacy that time cannot tarnish. Share this message if you believe that even in the shadows, resilience can rise above the ashes. Leave a comment about a time when a setback fueled your strength and transformed your path. Subscribe to the channel for more raw reflections that challenge the norms and unveil the darker truths of ambition and legacy. Remember, it's in the depths of despair that we often find our greatest power. Embrace it,